It has been almost 3 years since I posted to Instagram, and I am going to share with you guys why that has been the best decision I've ever made for my blog and why I'm making so much more money with my blog without Instagram versus when I was posting over there. I'm going to share with you guys the one question you should ask yourselves as a blogger or business owner before deciding to post on Instagram. And I'll also share my experience so that hopefully you can learn from it. I'll share kind of how I fell into it, what I was making over there, and what I wish I knew before getting started with posting on Instagram. And really quick, if you're a blogger or website owner, I encourage you guys to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my free blogging tips and knowledge that I'm sharing, which is stuff I've learned along the way in the years that I've been doing this. Thank you so much. The first question that you should ask yourself as the blogger or business owner, and that I really wish I asked myself before getting started, was, is Instagram going to get you to the result that you want for your business? For me, I always wanted to get clicks over to my website. So whatever platform I was using, Pinterest, whatever, I ultimately wanted that piece of content to get that person to click over to my actual blog post on the website, because that's how I am earning an income, through the ads over there. So that was always my goal. And I really wish I stopped and asked myself, is Instagram going to help me reach that goal? Now, I might not have had the answer yet. I might not have known because I did not have this experience behind me yet. But let me share my experience as a blogger, because in the end, Instagram was just a huge fail, a major waste of time. It took a major toll on my mental health. And even though I was making some decent money for a short time, it in the long run cost me so much more. I started a blog and I quickly learned that you can't just make a piece of content or a blog post and have people magically come to it. You kind of need to go pick some platforms and promote it over there. So I just went with Pinterest and Instagram. It's because they're the two apps that I knew the best, and I knew for sure Pinterest got me the result I wanted. It was designed to get people to click from that image over to my website or my blog post. Instagram, I started with that one because I knew it the best, just as far as one I use the most. But again, I never really stopped and asked myself that question, is it really going to help with getting people to click from, Instagram over to my website? So I went into it blindly, again, with just the goal of promoting my blog posts, and it really turned into something else on its own. I saw other people making money over on Instagram, especially in, like the space that I was in with parenting back at the time, not so much recipes. And I just decided to learn a little bit more about the world of influencing, which I hate that word, but just getting paid to promote products and getting paid in return for, a sponsored post or a post on your feed or your stories. Ultimately, I feel like I fell into the social media trap, the trap that is Instagram, because I just saw a big number. I was making between $500 to $2,000 per post. This was 3 years ago at the end there, with almost about 15,000 followers, which is not huge, but it's not nothing. It took some time and effort to get to that point. But I saw those dollar amounts and thought, hey, this is pretty good money. It's definitely more than the ad income I'm making over on the blog, because the traffic just wasn't as high as it is today. So at the time, those bigger payments for the sponsored posts looked better than putting all my time and effort into the blog, which wasn't generating that much income for me. I got blinded by, basically money and the bigger payments. So I fell into that trap. But in order to get sponsored posts, you needed to have a good, engaged community, of a group of followers. A lot of brands cared about the number of followers, which just, I could go off on a whole other topic about that and why that is just incredibly frustrating. But I fell into the trap of how just the rat race that Instagram is. It's just, that app is designed to keep people on it, even the creators. We are just we feel like we have to create constantly. We have to be posting daily. I always felt like I needed to have something on my story. If I didn't, it really stressed me out. And it was also hard not to be affected by the likes, the views. If I worked really hard on a piece of content and it just didn't do well, it didn't get seen, then it was hard not to let that affect me. Just overall, the time it took to manage the account wasn't worth it. The toll it took on my mental health wasn't worth it. And ultimately, the money wasn't worth it because now I have really understood the money that you can make from your blog, and the time and effort that goes into a piece of content could make me, money for years on that blog post versus a one-time payment for the same amount of work on an Instagram post, if not more, to earn me a one-time payment, and then that work just dies. Nobody sees it anymore. The shelf life of content on Instagram is just not the same as Pinterest or, out on Google. At some point, I finally came to the realization the end game is not good for this. I cannot do this forever. Sustaining the schedule and just, like I said, everything it was doing to me mentally, I couldn't keep going. So I decided to just walk away. Just decided I'm gonna take a break, not post on Instagram anymore, and go back to the blog and really kind of see what happened. I missed posting on the blog. I missed having more control over my schedule. There was just a lot that was pulling me back to focusing on putting my time back into the blog and just, not giving Instagram all of that time and energy anymore. When I stopped posting, it was not like this big decision to stop for good. I just, kind of had a mental break and just decided I needed a break. And again, it turned into now 3 years, almost probably just over 3 years. And I have no plans on going back anytime soon because in these last few years, my blog is doing so much better. It has been so much more worth my time and effort to, make content that goes on to my website because yes, I want it to reach people, but I also want to earn some money from making that content. As we all know, it's work. And if we can get paid for it, we should. So just again, where my blog is at as far as income, as far as the schedule it takes from me, all of it is just better. For my situation, it's just made so much more sense to leave Instagram for good and put that time and energy into apps or platforms that help convert people over to my website, encourage people to click out of it over to our businesses, our websites. So Instagram might work for some businesses, maybe like businesses where your product or your service can be bought within the app. Or if you're not so focused on traffic to your website, but more like selling a product, I don't know if that is something that Instagram would still work for you, but this is just something to really, really think about. Think about if Instagram's going to get you to that goal that you want, because if you don't see a way that it is, then stay away from it. I feel like it's almost like ingrained in us that we think we need Instagram and all the social media channels to own a business, but we don't. I am making so much more money and I'm so much happier by just focusing on Pinterest and SEO. Those two, have been worth the time. I'm getting so much more traffic to my blog right now than I ever have with the years before. And I have no regrets from walking away from Instagram. My only regret is ever getting started over there. I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, help me with a subscribe so you don't miss out on any future blogging tips that I share for free, just stuff I've learned along the way. I don't have any courses that you have to pay for. I'm just putting it all out there. And I'm learning from you guys too. So if you could help me with a subscribe, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to talk to me in the comments. Thanks again.